Hello, I am Chris Kenner and welcome to the one-on-one of 5-Speed. We are staying in the automotive sort of race car thing with shifty and then 5-Speed. So I hope you enjoy this trick. It's an effect that was originally a very good friend of mine named Michael Weber showed me a card trick, a Monty trick, where a card was selected, lost in the pack, and then he did like a Monty effect, 3-card Monty kind of thing in the hands, and then he found the chosen card. Michael, my friend Michael Weber, he's one of the smartest people on the earth, probably one of the best performers and best friends I have. He took this effect and gave it to me, showed it to me years and years and years ago, like 25 years ago. And during that time, I also showed him a trick with 2 rubber bands where they linked together, which will also be a one-on-one here. And Michael took that rubber band trick, which I really didn't want to get out at the time, and he published it in his book, Lifesavers. And I didn't really know he was going to do this. And I didn't really care. It's not that big a deal. Michael's my buddy. So I thought, hey, this is kind of great. Michael showed me this trick that he told me he didn't want anybody to know. So I'm going to publish it in my book, Totally Out of Control. So that's the reason that this book, this trick ended up in print. And that's why it's here, because it was in my book, Totally Out of Control. So here you go. This is 5-Speed. So here we are with the basic presentation of 5-Speed. So all you need is to be you, have a person, and have a deck of cards. So, okay, so let's see, sir, I want you to say stop. Say stop. Perfect, right there. Look at that card. There, you got it. Take it, put it right back where you've got it from. I want you to take the deck and shuffle it. So shuffle. So how they shuffle? The hands. These are not my hands. They're someone else's. Person shuffling the cards. Let me take those back. Now, would it be amazing? You picked a card. You took the deck and you shuffled the cards if I could find your card. Well, that'd be impossible, so I'm going to do a different trick. Actually, we're going to use a couple of cards. The 4, 5, 3, ace, and there should be a 2 in here. 2 of spades. You didn't pick one of these cards, right? Okay, good. So here we go. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5 of spades. Now we're going to put them in order. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take the ace, the first one, put it down in this packet just a little bit, give it a little snap, comes back to the top. Take it again, put it a little lower, push it in a little slower, right back to the top. Let's get rid of the ace. We're going to try the same thing with a 2. If I put the 2 on the bottom, little snap, the 2 comes back to the top. Let's get rid of the 2. That leaves me with the 3. Let's put the 3 in between the 4 and the 5. Now the idea is to keep your eye on the 3. Where's the 3? No, you probably think there, it's actually on the bottom. I would be honest with you, I cheat. Not only do I use 1 3, actually I use 2 3s. Well, I use 3 3s, but I still have that 4 and the 5. So one last time, I won't do anything funny. This is very, very fair. If that's the 5, if that's the 4, this is the end of the other card trick. That is 5-Speed. Okay, so here we are with the method and sort of the diabolical method of this trick. It's pretty cool. And I'm going to break it down into 4 segments. And the one is showing you the sort of little gimmick and making it, and then the selection process, and then we're going to do, that's going to be part 2. Part 3 will be the ace and the 2, how they rise to the top, and then the Monty section will be the 4th part. So we're going to jump right into how to make this and how the secret sort of gimmick to the trick. So here we go. Okay, we are back to show you how to make the gimmick. And yes, this does have a gimmick, and you're going to need a couple of things. Number 1, you're going to need some double stick tape. Double stick tape is your friend. Or you can use this, it's a 2-way glue. It's called Zig. You can get it at Office Depot or Office Max. In the United States, I think you can still get it there. If not, just look it up online. You can find a place to get it. And I use these under, most of the time, I use the old school double stick tape method because it's so easy to carry a roll of double stick tape with you. And to use the glue, you've got to wait 15, 20 minutes for it to really, really dry. So if you're going to prepare it at home, this might be your way to go. If you want to be able to do it on the fly all the time, double stick tape will be your friend, trust me. Here's you need to find a fairly busy a regular playing card background that's kind of busy. You can't use, it's probably not as good to use a solid colored background like this. So just showing you that you can, but there's a few things as I go over in the presentation that you can do if you have a card that's solid, but I suggest probably not using that and using more of a busy card like this. Now all you do is take a small piece of double stick tape. Now the piece, I don't know if you can see that piece, it's basically a square of itself. So you use the width of the double stick tape, pull it out and make a little square. And if you want to be a perfectionist, you can cut it instead of using the little thing here to tear it off. You can cut it so it's perfectly square. Now I usually take the card. Oh, here's the card. I'm going to put it right here on the center. Now I'll lick my finger just a little bit and I'll kind of clean that edge of that card up. Just get it a little, not really roughing it up, just kind of, it gives it a little tackiness. Then you let it kind of dry so you don't have any moisture on the card. Take your little piece of double stick tape, put it right there on the center, just like that. So you've got it on the center of the card. So now you need to burnish it down, and what burnishing means is you're pushing it down. Now you don't want to push too much on it or pry too much on it because you'll take some of the all of the stickiness off of it. You need some of the stickiness. So now I just take and hold my thumbs in my forefinger and I squeeze and I push that down on the card. And you can also, if you want, take a flat surface. We'll use the deck. You can take a flat surface and like a Sharpie or any kind of anything with like a plasticky kind of edge on it, and you can just rub on it like this and push pretty good pressure. And what that does is that's sort of sticking that card really, really good to this card. So if you don't do that, what might happen is when you do the trick, the double stick tape will adhere itself to the selected card. So you want to make sure that it won't do that. So that leaves you just like this with a gimmick card. So what you do is you do that to the 5 of spades. So that's your card that's going to have your little double stick tape gimmick on it. So that is the making of the gimmick. Step 2 is how to have the card selected. In the tape, I just dribbled down so I didn't have a person here and had a card selected. So it won't be that way in real life. What you will do is this. It'll be your deck of cards that's got the 5 of spades with the double stick tape on it. And it can be anywhere in the deck. So you can be shuffling the deck, doing tricks, and then when you decide to do this trick, you just run through the deck, find the 5 of spades, it's right here, okay, cut it to the top of the deck. So now you have your 5 of spades right here on the top. So all you're going to do is, and this move that I'm going to show you right now is not really much of a move, but it's something that you will need to do later also, so you might as well learn it now. You take your 5 of spades, which is a double card. I just did the trick earlier, so I've got the 4 diamonds was my card. So here we go. I've got the 4 diamonds on the 5. So I'm just like this, and I know that's my 5. Now I need to get rid of that 4 diamonds, so I'm just going to put it on the bottom. So what I do is I take and I grab the 5 at the corner. You're not trying to make any attention to this, so you just push it off, grab it in the corner, and you take and push pressure sideways, and it will release the tape. If you grab it in the middle and try to push, you can't do it. I cannot get that apart. But if you grab right here, it twists it a little bit and then pushes it sideways. So you just do that, and that releases the card, and I just put it on the bottom and then put the 5 back on the top. So that's that simple. So if you want, the other way that you can do it is to pull the card towards you. So you're basically doing the opposite. Instead of pushing, you're moving your fingers like this. And that puts the 4 here in your hand, and you can just do that. So you basically, all you want to do, your setup is real simple. It's the 5 of spades on the top with the double stick tape right there. Now I try to keep my thumb covering that double stick tape because I'm always fearful that someone's going to see it. So I always kind of keep my thumb here. So now you have somebody pick a card. Doesn't matter where they pick it or what they pick. If it's one of the ace through 5, it's not going to be the greatest in the planet for you because they've picked one of your cards. So if you want to move the aces, the 2, 3, 4, ace 2, 3, 4, and 4 somewhere else higher in the pack so you don't select it, you can. But to be honest with you, I've never really had any, they don't really take it. It's very rare. So somebody picks a card. Let's use a nice bright colored card. We use the jack. It's a good contrasting card. So they pick the card. They pick the jack. So as they take the jack, see, hand the jack to someone. You take the deck. Now I just swing cut the deck into my hand, and I have them return the card. But I keep my thumb, again, I like to keep my thumb covering it. So I have them return the card. So they take the jack, and they put it back. So you can show it to them again, say, remember the card. Now you very cleanly and very softly, you can't push hard on it after they set it on the deck, you can't push because now it would be stuck to the card. So you let them set it there, and you very soft, you just sort of square it up, take the rest of your cards, drop them on top. Now you very, very cleanly show them all the edges, you square the cards up, and then from here, I take the deck and I grab it in the middle and I squeeze and I give them the deck and I say, shuffle the cards. Do you know shuffle like this? And that's sort of telling them to shuffle overhanded when you do this sort of the international language for overhead. Can you overhand shuffle? So you just do that and they take the deck and they shuffle. Now they should overhand shuffle. And you also, right before this trick, you should shuffle the cards. And if you've done a trick for the person, if they shuffle like this, you already know they're going to overhand shuffle, which is a good thing to know. If they do riffle the cards, the card can separate. If you riffle the cards, they can separate the card. So you want to be very careful if they do that. So now the card is selected and put back, and you don't know where it's at. It's literally you don't know where it is. So you say, it would be great if I could find your card. You pick the card, any card you wanted. You shuffled the cards. It'd be a miracle if I could find your card. They agree. You say, well, so I can't find it, so I'll do a different trick. Now you run through the deck. You find the 5 cards you need, the 5, and you just up jog them. And it doesn't matter what order they come in, 4, 3, 2, and ace. And normally they'll be separated throughout the deck. But you just up jog. Let's assume that they're in different parts and in a different order. So you just up jog them so you're like this. Now you pull these cards out of the deck, set your deck down, and you're basically done. The only thing you need to do now is put them in order. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So ace on top, 5 on the bottom. So now you can very cleanly show these cards as much as you'd like, and you're going to go into your next trick. So that is section 2. So here we are with section 3, and this is the ambitious part of the ace and the deuce. So we'll go through that. So here you're in this position, which is the 5 with the double stick tape 5 here with the selection attached to it, and then the 4, 3, 2, and the ace. So it's really simple. You take the ace, you go, here's my first, we're going to take the ace, the first card, and as you show it, you're going to push over just a little bit and get a little tiny pinky break. But you're not going to stick your pinky in, you're just going to kind of grab it with the flesh, just like that. Now you take the ace and you're going to stick it right in that break. And when you do, you don't move your pinky. You know, you kind of can pull down a little bit with the cards, but you don't move your pinky from being able to still hold that break. So you push that ace in, show it. Now they think that it's going down in the packet, but you really just push it in, and you keep your break. Now you're going to do a double lift to show the aces come back to the top. So you can just take the 2 cards, just reach over and grab them, and show the ace. So here's the ace, it's come back to the top. Now you put it back on the top. Now you take the top card, which they think is the ace, say, I'll do it again. Now you spread over the cards, all 4 cards, and the bottom one's a double, but 4 cards, and you take the ace and you stick it in the middle. So you've got it now third from the top. And they see that. So you say, I'll take the ace, you don't show it, obviously, and you stick it right there. Now you're going to push that ace in, and or that 2, which they think is the ace, as you push it in, you lift up and you're going to get that little break again. And as soon as you have pushed it in, your forefinger touches the top and pulls the ace, the top card back, and you turn it over and show it. So now you're showing as you've done the ambitious with the ace twice. And then you take that card and you toss it off the back. So I'll go over that again very quickly, sort of a Cliff Note version. You show your ace and you get your little break. Take the ace and you stick it in there and keep your break. So now you show the aces come back to the top. Take what they think is the ace off the top. You spread these out a little and you put it in third from the top. As you push it in, you do that and your pinky holds a little break. You pull the top card off and turn it over. That's the ace. That's the first section of the ambitious. Now you take that card, throw it away. Now you say, I'll say to do the same with the 2. You take the 2 and you just do a double because you've got a very natural, right here you're holding a break. So this is a double, that's the 3 on the top. Show the 2, take the 2, put it on the bottom, snap, whatever your magic gesture is, and the 2 comes back to the top. So again, I'll go through that sequence very quickly. So you've just tossed your ace off the pack, and you're holding your break, and your position is the 2 is second, and the 3 is on the top. And the reason it is that way is because you've done your first ambitious move, which sets you up like this. So now you grab, show the 2, take that card, the single card, put it on the bottom, snap, do your magic gesture, the 2 comes back to the top. Don't need that anymore, let's get rid of that. That is the ambitious part, and that is section 3. Okay, here we are at section 4. This is the Monty section, and also it has the change at the end. So here's how that works. You've just done the ace and the 2, the ambitious section. So you're left like this, and you have the 3 on the bottom, and then the 4 and the 5, the 4 and the 5. Now the strange thing about this is that if they're following in there, believing what you've done is actually magic, the 3 really should be on the top. So that's a kind of a slight discrepancy that when you show the cards, it's going to be on the bottom. So to kind of confuse this as you show the 3, I turn over like this so that they don't really see where the 3 came from, even though it's done very openly. So what that means is I hold the card in like a biddle grip just from the top, all 3 cards, which is really 4 because, again, this one's double stick taped. Then you take your hands and you go your left hand, you go underneath and you slide the 3 over. And as you go to turn your hand over to turn this card over, you flip these cards over. So again, it's going to be real simple like this. Now, I mean, it's a little more fancy than that with my finger, but you can just turn your hand over. So that's to keep them from like really seeing that the 3 came from the bottom, but you don't really care if they do. So now you're here and you take the 3, you put it in between the 4 and the 5. So you're just like this. So now comes the Monty move, and that Monty move is a pretty simple and classic move, and that is you're going to turn these cards over so it's going to look like you did this. But what you really do is you want them to think that the 3, of course, is there in that position. What really happens is, as you turn over the cards, this one's going to just, again, simply turn over in your hands. You're just going to turn it over like that. So, and this is the double. As that happens, you take your left hand, turn it over. Now you grab it from the top. And what's going to happen to this hand, I'm not going to move this one, is this. As your hand turns over, you switch the position of these 2 cards. That's all you do. It's just there to there. So as your hand turns over, so there's the 3, you switch the position of the cards. Now, so that's confusing to the eye as a bunch of things happen. So here you go. So again, I come here and I do that move at the same time that I turn this over. And I kind of also up jog that card just a little bit, which is the 4, and I set the 5 on top. Now then I take the card that I want them to think is the 3 out, and I put it on the top. And I also, as you see, I've taken my forefinger and placed it right there. And the reason I do that is that covers that edge of that double card. So you're there and you hope they think that's the 3. And then I kind of like point to it, and you're saying, where's the 3? Now, I don't give them a chance to say, it's right there, or it's there. You try not to give them any, you just buzz through the trick. So in presentation mode, it would look something like this. You get to this position, you go like this, where's the 3? No, it's actually on the bottom. You don't even give them a chance, you just turn over the bottom card. So now that you've shown the card on the bottom, you don't show these 2 cards, you square everything up. Now you're going to do a double off the bottom, which is really a triple, again, because I'm sort of talking like this 5 is 1 card, but it's really a double. So you're going to do a double triple off the bottom. Sounds like a gymnastic move, the double triple. So you have the 3s on the bottom. You've just shown it here. You place it back on the bottom. Now I put the cards with my second finger pinched very lightly in my palm. Now my thumb on the top, I can slide that top card over just a little. That exposes these bottom cards. So now all I do is grab those 2, which is really 3, and I pull them over, turn them over as 1. Now you're hinting them like a book, so it happens very quickly, and you don't want to pull the card out and get it. You want to run the risk of spreading them. So you very quickly pull that here, pull them out, and immediately turn them over. And now I square them up on the pack. I try not to hold a break, because since it's, you know, it's 3 cards, I try not to do that. So just like this, I keep it square. Now I take again, now I put it in that position where I'm pinched between my second finger and the palm, and I push off 2 cards, which is really 3. So I just put a little pressure, and these cards will just pop right off. And now I grab the corner, turn them over. Now they think this is a 3. I take this card, and I lever over the middle card, the real 3, by itself. Now I'm going to switch this card for the bottom card. And how I do that is kind of a standard little move. As I flip it over, my fingers pop out the bottom card, and I take that bottom card, and then immediately flip that one over. Show the 3rd. So it's a very quick movement, and in time, sort of in real time, the whole sequence looks like this. Here's your 3, 4, and the 5. Put 3 between the 4. Keep your eye on the 3. Where is it? No, it's on the bottom. Now again, it's double or triple off the bottom. Spread that over. Turn over this card. You do this little switch move. Turn over that one. Show this 3. Now you say, but I still have the 4 and the 5. You turn these over. And again, you handle these super casual so that they see that there's nothing, there's no way you're holding a double card is what you're trying to show. So from this position, you're almost done. Take your 3, put it right here. So now your order is 3, 4, 5. Flip it over. Now the move, your ending move happens. You push over the 5, the double card. And again, you pinch it between your first finger and thumb, and you grab it at the corner and you push. And when you push, that card will separate. So there's the 5, and there's the jack. So you take the jack, and you push it onto the top. You pull that 5 out, and you put it on the bottom. Now the trick is done. You're done. You're about to do your change. So now what I do is I take my thumb and forefinger, and I grab in the middle and squeeze. And as I squeeze, I spread. So that's what that's doing is 2 things. It's spreading the cards, and the other thing it's doing is it's sticking the double stick tape. It's sticking the 3 of spades that's going to switch to the 5 of spades. So you spread a little, and now you say, if this is the 5 of spades, and you push the top card, which is the chosen card, you push that forward. This is the 4 of spades. This is the end of the other card trick. You show the change. And at this point, you can show the cards, and I usually drop them on the table, and you're finished with the trick. So that is the ending sequence, and I'm going to go over it again very quickly, like as a Cliff Note version. So if you're sort of practicing, you can go to this little segment and see it. Where you would be at this point would be you would have just set your 2 down. You've done the ace and the 2 ambitious section. The 3 is on the bottom, the double card, the 5, and the 4 is on the top. So here we go. This is sort of the Cliff Note version. You grab it from the top, you turn over the card showing the 3 with your little confusing turnover. Put the 3 in between the 4 and the 5. Now you grab them, turn your left hand over and do this Monty move as you turn the 5 over. Pull the 3 out, put it on the top. And you, again, it's important to have your forefinger right there to cover that double card. Make them think that's the 3. You don't give them a chance to say anything. You immediately turn over and say, no, it's on the bottom. And as you do that, you're kind of rotating here and covering that double card, instead of showing it over here. Place that back on, square everything up. Now you're going to show basically each card as a 3. It's like you've cheated. I cheat. Not only do I have 1 3, you do that double off the bottom. So again, that's you set your cards, square them up here in your hand, pinch between their palm and your second finger, pull that over, turn over the double, which is really a triple because you've got the double stick tape card. Now you push that double triple back over. Again, you're in this position. Your thumb pushes over. Grab it from the sides, turn that over. Take the top card, the double 1. Use that to flip over the actual 3 in the center. Now as you flip this over, you're going to do the switch move where you switch this card for this card. So you turn it over. As your hand comes down to take it, you actually take the bottom card, and then as you come back up, you flip over that single card. And at this point you say, but I still have the 4 and the 5. So you've shown the 3 times. Now you're almost done. You've got your 3 here on the bottom, which you're in a second going to stick this card to the 5 of spades, to the back of the 5 of spades, switching it for the chosen card. So now you're like this. You turn it over. You say, now if I take, and you're just talking, you're kind of talking here, and you're going to do a quick little push off of this card. So you push off the chosen card, and you put it on the top. Now you take your card that has a double stick tape on it right here, the 5, and you put it on the bottom. So now you're done. Now all you're going to do is take your right hand and pinch in the middle, and I squeeze really hard, and it does 2 things. One thing that it does is it adheres the double stick tape to the 3 of spades, and the other thing is it allows me to spread the cards a little. Now all you do is grab the 5, turn it over, you push that top one over, turn over the 4. So you're in this position, and you say, if that's the 5, that's the 4, this is the end of the other card trick. Now you can show everything cleanly, and at this point I toss everything on the ground. Okay, here we are with some final thoughts and some credits. Now, again, I cannot not thank Michael Weber for teaching me his Monty trick 25 or 30 years ago, and it became this for me, this version. And again, the story is that, you know, I gave him a trick, he gave me a trick, he published my trick without my permission, I published his trick without his permission, and you know, we're still the best of friends, and it's no harm done. So you don't go calling Michael, hey Michael, you're not going to believe it, he just published his trick. So you can do what you want. Michael, I love you, you're the best. And if you don't know anything about Michael Weber, if you've never heard of him or you don't have any of his stuff, let me tell you, it's the greatest, some of the best magic you're ever going to see is some of his stuff. So hunt down his book, Lifesavers. If you don't have it, you must. It's an impromptu book. Definitely have to hunt that book down. And actually, anything you see of Michael, you get a chance to see him, he's fantastic. So that, my friends, is 5-Speed, and we'll see you next time. I am Chris Kenner, and we are here to show you my version of the linking rubber bands, which is called the missing link. It's where you take 2 rubber bands and link them together. It's pretty simple, it's pretty clean, and I hope you enjoy it, the missing link. You got 2 rubber bands, one small one here, the tan one, and a big black one. The big one's mine, I'm the pride of the neighborhood. If I take these 2 rubber bands, all I have to do is touch them together. And they link, they actually link together. Now, the only way to get them apart is to just pop them right back apart. That is the missing link. So all you need are, there's no real preparation, all you need are 2 rubber bands. Now, I like to use 2 rubber bands of different sizes. You've got the big one, the black one is just a big rubber band. You can find these in all sorts of colors at an office supply store. The small one that I like to use the size, is a very stretchy rubber band, and it's a size is number 19. When you go to the office supply store, just buy a box of number 19 rubber bands. And what I'll do is I'll kind of pick through and find the stretchiest company that has them. So the ones that I have, I'm not even sure you can even buy anymore. I actually bought a big box of rubber bands 25 years ago, and I'm still using the same box of rubber bands. So again, it's a size 19. So the method is pretty simple. Many years ago, Michael Amar did a ring on rubber band trick, and that was when he doubled up the rubber band so it looked like it was here, but really you could break the rubber band. Everybody's seen that trick. He applied that trick to linking a ring onto the rubber band. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea. And then around that same time, Dan Harlan was doing really cool linking rubber band tricks. So I put the 2 together and came up with this. You take your forefinger, pull in the center, and as you squeeze your thumb and your forefinger together. Now I open up. The only reason I'm doing this is it's allowing me to make it easier to maneuver this hand. So as I do that, I twist this hand again. Now I'm just pinching the rubber band. I take my second finger, go down, which allows me to roll the rubber bands together and put them right here at my joint. So now I have the band is doubled over. So the rubber band is now doubled over here. So I do that in conjunction of having the big rubber band. So I don't really grab it and let it hang in the middle because I need this to be a little taut. So I just grab, so you see the way there's a big gap down, or the big chunk of rubber band down here. That just allows me to have more control. If I do it like this, it's just harder for me, and I keep hitting this part of the rubber band. So that's why I kind of do the move with it here. So you're going to do the same move we just learned, exactly the same way, but the only thing that's different is you come forward to do this, start the move. When you pull like this, as you can see, the rubber band is caught in the middle of the move. So you do the move. Right here, you've got now the rubber band is here at this point. Pull here, and you finish your move off. Just do your move and roll that in the ball. leaves you like this. Now the only other thing you do is open your hands, and you a lot of slack, and you pull like this. So see the way it's already linked right here, but it's covered in your hands. So you're just like this. You're in this display. So once you get to here, now you need to link them. So now I take my right hand, the thumb of my right hand, and again, I need to keep these all pulled really tight. So I have to stretch my thumb and touch the center. I touch the center of the tan band, the upper band, the lower part of the upper band, and I push it to where it touches the center of the black band. Now, what I do is I do a quick one, and I release my fingers. I'm going to pop my fingers open, which allows that to open like that. So it allows it to show to visually link. A lot of people that know this trick will think, oh, there's some sort of way he's got it hidden in his hand. So the trick is, you get another wow out of it when you do that. The next step that's cool is when you can turn your hand over and show it. And you show your palms. And what you've got is, since you're pulling so tight, that rubber band won't pop open. It's right there on your fingers. And if you've got it you're curled a little, that allows that. So you're like this, which looks like a total miracle. So to do the unlink, it's pretty simple. Turn back over. You make the rubber band fall down to your right hand. Now you grab this rubber band at the same time that you take your thumb and put it right here on that little rubber knot, basically. And you let go of everything, just hold on to the rope. So you're basically holding it like this. So again, you're showing another kind of it's linked. Now to get it unlinked, the way is you release everything very quickly. What that's going to do is, if you release it slowly, this doesn't unball real easily. But if you release it at a nice, even, quick pace, it all kind of undoes itself right here so that you can grab one band, which is all you're going to do. So from here, again, you're pinched. You just take the rubber band and do a quick release, and that leaves you, and I have it kind of covered by my hand, so I don't want them to see all these little strands. This is what you see. You see this. And all you do is grab any one of the pieces that you see on the side, closest to your right hand. You don't want to grab the back side. You grab either piece and you pull it. So once you pull it, you put your finger back in. Now you're here, and all you're going to do is push down on this, and everything will unlink. So to do this, you just take your finger and push down, and that rubber band will just pop right off. And then you're done. The unlink is that simple. Okay, so I'm going to give you some tips and some final thoughts on the missing link. Number one is that the way that I taught it is I do it like 50% of the time that way. And the other percent of the time, I do it in this way, where I do it exactly the same up until the ending. So I do the whole trick the same. So I get to this position, link the rubber band, show it, show it. Now I come back and say the only way to get these apart would be to break them. And I break the rubber band. But if I was really magic, I could put it right back together. Now that's the way I usually do it for regular people, because to them it's more of a miracle that I snap that rubber band and put it back together. It's like it adds another trick to the dimension of this, another dimension to the effect. Magicians kind of look at it like, oh, it's just the old snapping or tearing rubber band trick. They don't realize how powerful that simple effect is to people. So again, if you want to do it that way, I'll just go over without the rubber band. I'll show you how you do the breaking apart. So when you're here, you show the rubber band. You've just done this, and the rubber band's hanging here. I take and I pop my finger in here. I'm just kind of getting my fingers free. I need to get this finger free. So I'm switching it to my ring finger. So I take my ring finger and I shove it in the thing. So all I'm doing is switching it from my first finger of my right hand to my ring finger. Now that leaves these fingers all free to come over here, and I grab the rubber band. I just grab it. So again, I've taken my thumb and I've pinched the knot, just like at the end. I've switched it to my ring finger. Now I come over here with my forefinger and grab just really close to that knot, and I pull real tight, and it'll just pop out. And now I let everything go except for right here. Open this up, and just rub that little area, and it looks like it melts back together. That's the way I normally do it for people, because I think it's a better effect. You get sort of a double trick out of it. So if I were to do it for, you're going to do this, you know, at a walk-around situation, I would actually suggest that. If you do it for magicians, I'd probably do the other one, because they may not know how the trick works. They may not actually realize you have it doubled up. And the breaking it's a total tip to magicians that that's how the trick worked. Now, each time that I've done this in the tape, try to remember that I never do it like I'm performing. I'm basically doing it up here so you can see me do the setup each time. I never do it up here. You always do it down. So when you're in this position getting ready to do the move, you come down, swing down, and do the move right here at your waist. So I did it that fast right here. And then you come up. And the only thing that I usually do to cover this is have a joke. So it's a joke. Obviously, you have rubber bands, so you have a rubber joke. So you can just say, here, examine these rubber bands. As soon as you get them back, get yourself ready to do this move. So you're just like this, and then say, you're the official rubber checker, which will usually get some sort of a snicker. And then as soon as I say, you're the official rubber checker, right as I start the word rubber, I start the move. And then you come up after their reaction or whatever sort of reaction you get out of that. I would have to probably credit Michael Amar for doing the linking ring on rubber band, where he doubled up the rubber band and then broke it and took the ring off. It was a very good effect back in the, I think, late 70s, early 80s. And then, of course, Rubber Band Dan Harlan. He was a giant influence to everybody in the 80s, early 80s, and ever since even, doing rubber band effects. So that's it. Dan Harlan, Michael Amar, and the rest I just kind of put together to throw this trick, you know, combine the different methods. And that is it. That's the missing link, and I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you next time. Hi, I'm Chris, and this is Katie.
Hi, I'm Katie.
And she is going to do the missing link for you. Okay, here, take these. Look at that, they're linked. It's a miracle. And you know, the funny thing is I taught this to her in like 1 hour, so no problem.
He did. He taught it to me like this. Okay, you're going to do this, and then you're going to link them, and then they're going to be like this.
So,
just like that.
You all have no excuse. Hi, I'm Chris Kenner. Welcome back to our one-on-one videos. This is my version of Sid Lorraine's Sloppy Shuffle. This is a pretty practical version. It can be done standing up, without a table. It can be done with a table. You could use any deck of cards, shuffled, borrowed. Pretty much they could give you a deck that's been in their house for 100 years and was left in a bucket of water. Doesn't matter. You can do it with pretty much anything. Alrighty, so here we are with the basic presentation for Sid Lorraine's Sloppy Shuffle. First, I need to borrow a deck of cards. Sir, can I borrow your deck of cards? Why, thank you. They shuffled? They're shuffled up? Good. Do me a favor. Reach in there, take out a card. You have it. Look at it. Remember it. Put it back. Show it to everybody. People in TV land. Alrighty. Square the pack up. Now, don't you hate when you're doing a trick and there's like a obnoxious spectator or some drunk guy that like grabs the deck. Hey, buddy. What if I took these cards and I mixed them up, made them a mess? So I mixed them up so they were face up, face down, just a big mess of cards. What if I did that to you, buddy? Huh? What? What if I did that? Look, they're a mess. All right, what if that happened? What would you do then? Well, at that point I'd say, Dad, give me the deck back. And I'd say, Dad, you've mixed the cards up. They're face up, they're face down, they're back to back, they're just a big mess. But to do the magic, all I have to do is shake the deck. All the cards turn right themselves back except for one card. What was your card? The 3 of clubs. Alrighty, here we are for the description of Chr1s Sloppy Shuffle. You can use any deck of cards, shuffled, borrowed, blue, half the deck, 3/4 of the deck, it doesn't matter. They can be sticky, doesn't matter. Anything is wrong with these cards, does not matter. All you do, take your deck, ask them if they've shuffled it, you can have them shuffle it, spread the cards out to have a card selected. Let's say they pick a card, we use whatever, it's 3 diamonds. Now, when you have the card returned, the only thing that's important about that is that it's in the lower third of the pack. So as you spread through, just kind of break about 15, 20, it doesn't really matter, cards from the bottom, and have them return their card. So they return their card, 3 diamonds. As you can see, my pinky, my ring finger, and my second finger are open, and I set the card, that ace right here, boom. And as I go to square it, I just do that. So my fingers are holding that bottom portion stepped. Now once you're here, I just take my pinky and squeeze. And that allows you to keep your step in the back, and you've got just giant step here. So what this does is allows you to transfer the cards back and forth in your hand and not have a break, which is kind of disarming. It's for magicians. They might see right through it, but a lot of people nowadays are getting used to the fact that we stick our pinky in a deck. Now you're ready to do the presentation part of the effect. You've got your little step in the cards, and they're kind of held in a loose dealer's grip. Now you take your right hand, and you're going to pinch the deck. You're just going to reach underneath it with your forefinger and second finger and your thumb on top, and you're going to pinch the card and take it into the right hand. Now that keeps that step. You can see that step is still there, but you're holding the cards. So you hold the cards. I kind of flash them face up so that they see that I'm real casual with them. And then I put them back into my left hand, but again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to squeeze them with my thumb and the second finger. So now I hold the deck like this, and I say, don't you hate when you've got a spectator who's drunk or obnoxious, or the bully at school? Hey, let me see that deck of cards. And then that's when you reach in, you're going to grab the cards from yourself. Say, let me take that deck of cards. And that sort of, presentation-wise, gives you the opportunity to act the part of the drunken, obnoxious, bully. Hey, buddy, what if you did this? What if I took your cards and I ripped them up? So you get to sort of have fun with it. And during your little section, all you're doing is you're turning the cards over, and each time you're turning them over, you're not shuffling the cards face up, face down at all. You're just, basically you're doing this. You're putting the cards so that you only have a break in the middle. So you've got half the cards will be face up, half the cards will be face down in the end. And so how you do that is you take your cards with your step, and you transfer it back over into your left hand, and then your pinky, your ring finger, and your second finger go underneath, and they sit right there on that ace of clubs. So now all you've got to do is come over and spread the cards out. That's the only move you really have. So you spread the cards into your right hand, and when you grab a chunk of them, you only want to do this about 5 times, so you grab a chunk of them, and you take your right hand and you turn it over, and I don't do it like this, I make a pretty big motion of it. You turn it over, and as you do, you spread a few more face down cards. And again, this can be really sloppy, hence the name, Sloppy Shuffle. And you take your thumb on the bottom and you grab, and now you turn these over, again in a big motion. Then you spread a few more, turn these over, spread a few more. Now when you're getting ready to do the end of the effect, and you're about to spread to where your 3 of diamonds is, like as I'm spreading, that's my 3 of diamonds right there. That's where my finger is on the ace, and that one is the 3. The last time you spread the cards before you actually take your 3 of diamonds and put it where you want it, is when you're all face up. So your hand's like this, not like this. So when your hand is face up like this, you spread all the remaining cards on the bottom, and that's the 3 right here. Now you turn your hand over, and instead of taking the 3, your chosen card, and sticking it underneath like you normally would, you just take that card and put it right there on top. So instead of sticking it at the bottom, you just put it right there. So you've pretty much done the effect. You've reversed it yourself right in front of them. Now you turn your whole thing over again, and I kind of pause and say you've really shuffled them up, face down, so they can kind of see there's face down, there's face up, face down. Now I just close this like a book, and again you leave everything real sloppy, and that's your card, your chosen card. And then you square everything up. Now your trick is pretty much done, but the position that you're in right now is this. Chosen card, half the deck is face up, half the deck is face down. Now if you notice with any deck of cards, there's a natural bow on the cards. And if you just reach down and just cut where you think right around where you think the break is, you can cut to where they're face up and face down by the natural bow of the playing cards. So this all is done in your hand, obviously. You don't really set them down on the table. So you're in this position, you've squared everything up. Now all you need to do is take this bottom half and turn it over and put it on the top. But you don't want to just do that, so you want to do it in a little subtle fashion. So what you do is you say the cards are face down, and now you cut anywhere in the face-up packet. So I just cut 4 or 5 cards off. So the cards are face down, face up, and you turn this hand, again, just like you did, you turn the card over. So you show face up, face down, you come back, and now you try to grab where the break is. So here I hit it, there's the break. But if you don't hit it, here's how you'll know. 2 things will happen. You'll see a face up card, or you'll see a face down card, and this card will be face up. How you know you've hit your spot is when everything's face down. So once you're here, all you do, there's only one thing to do, and that's turn this pack over. So as soon as your hands get like this and you know that you've cut the cards, you take your thumb, put it underneath, and you flip these over as you turn this hand back down. So you just rotate your hand back down, set the cards on the top, square it up, and your trick is pretty much done. So now all you have to do, snap your fingers or whatever magic gesture you want to do, spread through the cards, show that all the cards are face up, except for one card, their card, the 3 of diamonds. Alrighty, I'll give you a couple of the tips and things you can do with this effect. Obviously, you don't have to do it just standing. You can use a table also. There's a couple of things that you can do in that case. So I'll go over that with you really quick. So if you have a card selected, say they pick a card, we'll use 7 of hearts. Same thing, you put it back, do your little move where you hold the cards, squeeze, here. Now as you do the face up, face down, same, everything's the same. Here's my card, turn over. Now the spreading out sequence is what's different. How you restore the card, or you turn this bottom half over. So what you do is just like before, you reach in, you cut a small portion, show your face up card, you cut to your face up, face down card, your natural break. Now you take the cards that are in your left hand, and you're going to set the deck down, just like you would normally, and then you take this hand and you turn it over and set it right on the top. And now you're again finished with the trick. So all you've got to do is spread the cards out, and there's one card face up. Another thing that you can do, that's not the way I do it, but a lot of people do triumph this way, so I'm just going to at least mention that you can do it like this. When you are at the position at the end, when you're face up and you spread the cards and show them all with only one card, some people think that it's better presentation-wise to do it face down. So in other words, to turn the deck face down and say, look, all the cards have turned themselves face down except for one card, your card, the 7 of hearts. The reason that I don't do it that way is I think that in this particular trick, you get more of the shock of, look, they're restored, and then, except for one, and then you've got the beat of showing them the card. But either way is fine. They're both good magic, so just kind of giving you the idea there. Another tip is if you're having a problem with this natural break thing, where when you're at the position where you have half the deck and there's a break, a bow, I always use pretty much new cards, so they don't usually ever flatten out. Because sometimes if you use a deck for a long time, it kind of actually flattens out a little bit, and you don't really get that natural break. So if you have that, or it's a borrowed deck and it's an old deck, take the deck and either give it a little ridge bow like this right before you do the trick. Just give it a little bend. That gives you a sort of you're going to end up with a real natural break there. Now I would bow it this way because that's the way I like to bow it, but since you're picking up from the back, you can also bow it like this. But I think that the cards stay bowed a little better lengthwise, but either way is fine. It just gives you a little extra help if you're having a little problem getting your natural break. So that gives you, a giant break like that. So that is Sid Lorraine Sloppy Shuffle. I hope you've enjoyed it, and hope we see you back for more. Hi, I'm Chris Kenner. This is the 4-for-4 switch from my book, Totally Out of Control. It's a pretty practical and simple utility switch. Basically what you can do is you can switch 4 cards for 4 cards invisibly, hence the name 4-for-4. Or if you just want to switch in 3 cards or 2 cards, you can use it as an add-on. It's a pretty practical and simple move. Here's what it looks like. Hello everybody out there in download land. This is the explanation for the 4-for-4 switch. So for my explanation purposes, I'm going to take the 4 aces and the 4 kings. But to start off, you have a break underneath the 4 kings. So here's my 4 kings, and I've got a little pinky break under the cards. Now I don't stick my finger way in there, it's just kind of at the tip. Now I'm just going to assume that you sort of know what a pinky break is if you're learning this switch. So we'll start with the 4 aces on the top. And since the trick's worst angle is dead on from the front, you have to do a little displacement with the cards to sort of allow you to cover the front angle a little bit better. So the first thing I do is I spread the aces, spread our cards, and I just give it a quick, sort of as natural up jog. So I spread over 3 cards into the right hand, and I just place the 1 card up jogged, and I'm just kind of playing with the card. So I'm just toying with the cards is what it looks like. At this point, I grab the cards so they're in a clump. Now, I've seen people try to do this, where they make it a block so they get the most cover they can. But that looks like, hello, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do something right now. Look at my 4 cards that are perfectly aligned. So you want to make it a real casual. So just kind of be yourself and whatever looks natural for you to kind of mess the cards up. So you get the cards in this little position. I kind of give them a little squirrel. I say 4 aces. And that also shows that it's just 4 aces. Now you grab them all with the right hand. And this little edge right here, as soon as you come over, you're going to touch it to the left hand. That's when you do the move. But the one thing you need to do is try to keep your left hand as dead as possible. Do not move it. The only thing that it does is the wrist breaks at the end to close the cards. Right here I've got my little pinky break like this. Right before I do the move, I put a little bit of pressure on the cards with my ring finger. What that's going to allow me to do is to pop those cards open. What happens is, after you displace your cards, now you grab them. As soon as the cards come over and touch the thumb and cover this entire edge, and it's only a very brief moment, that's when you do the move. What happens is, as soon as that happens, you do that little squeeze and the cards pop out and they hit your fingers. They don't go any further. Now at this point, all you're going to do is take your cards, my aces, and put them in the little space you've got there. So you take your aces, just put them in the gap at the same time that your wrist turns, and that's the switch. It's actually that simple. Okay, I've got a couple of tips for the move. Number 1, don't do drugs. Number 2, as you're doing the move, there's one thing that people tend to do a lot, and it kind of makes this look like it is a move. And the goal on this is to make it look like it's really natural. And what you'll do, what I see happening all the time, is as people do the move, so they come over here, and just as they pop the cards open, they tend to think, ooh, I've got this little book here. It might look better if, as I do the move, so as they come across and get it to here, they put them in and go down with the cards and open those kings as a hinge and then close them. It looks kind of okay from your angle here, but it's much harder to cover it that way, and it also really kind of tips that you're doing a move. It doesn't have a natural feel of just shoving the cards in and breaking your wrist. Another thing that you can do, that's a really great tip when you're learning it, but as you start doing it more and more, you won't really notice that you need to do this. As you open the cards, when you squeeze and the cards pop up, it's kind of hard to stop it naturally with your hand like this. So you can just kind of pop it as hard as you can, and you use your finger. So you take it and you let it hit your second finger. So as you come across, you hit that finger and then put the cards in and do the move. So your finger acts as a stop. But as you get better at it, you won't do that at all. It'll pop open this far. You'll barely open it up. The less you open it, the better you're going to get this move. Okay, this is how you cover the angles. Now your worst angle is from the front, and an even worse angle is if you're standing and they're sitting. But you can cover it, and it's pretty easy to cover. You just have to be aware of the situation. So here's what you do if they're people in the front and sitting, or just basically a little bit further away from you and in the front, sort of in a stand-up kind of setting. So we've got our 4 kings and our break under our aces. So all you do is, as you get ready to do the move, you angle the cards down. So you kind of like relax your body a little bit, and also break your wrist so that the wrists break. As soon as that happens, you pop the cards open, so you're like this. And then as you start to do the move, as soon as the cards start to go in, you can go ahead and bring your hands back up and square. So that gives you the move. One thing that happens during that, which is actually good, is if they are low, and when you do go down and you do the move, as you come up, they sort of see these cards that they think are the top cards. They'll see the aces as you square. And then you end up switched for the kings. So it kind of gives you a little advantage also. The other angle that's not the greatest is a little bit to your right. And to cover that, I find the best way is to just sort of necktie your body a little bit to the right. I've noticed that if I'm surrounded, or I'm doing a kind of a walk-around kind of situation, or if there's a bunch of people standing around me, part of the important thing about this move is your attitude. If you have a nice casual attitude, that you're just taking the 4 cards and turning them over, you'll get away with it a lot easier than you will if you go, okay, now watch these 4 kings. I'm going to take them, and now I'm going to do this move. In the application of someone to your right, or you're surrounded, you just kind of turn your body a little bit as you do the move and then come back. So it gives you a little bit of cover. And if they're surrounded and sitting, you would just angle the cards down, do the same thing. So you would just up jog, angle the cards down, and then come back, and you've done the move. So the more casual you are with it, the better off you're going to be. Once you get it down, you will definitely be able to say, hey, look at this. This is a move. I'm going to switch 4 cards for 4 cards, and you ain't going to see it. Okay, a great use of this move is if you have 4 cards on the table that you want to switch out for, say, or add on, or switch out for 4 cards on the deck. It's a little different than it would be if you were standing up. And the difference is this. You don't want to pick the cards up and then displace them and then do the move. You can cut that whole section out by having your break, come down, scoop the cards up, fan them forward, which gives you your cover, and just do the move immediately. And you've got your switch. Well, one more time, real time, take my 4 kings, 4 aces. All right, I'm going to show you a pretty cool effect that you can do with this that utilizes just doing the switch, and also I'll give you a little history. The history of this move for me is it was inspired by John Mendoza. John does a move called throwing the switch, which is a fantastic move, and I just basically streamlined it and simplified it to fit me, and that's what 4 for 4 is. And this is a little application that John used to do, and it definitely will fool magicians. So here you go. We'll take our 4 aces, little snap, turn into the 4 kings. Again, just give that a little snap. And we've got our 4 8s. I guess the kings ate too much. That's a joke. Okay, to do that, it's pretty simple. Basically, you have your 4 aces, your 4 kings, and your 4 8s. And they are in that order. So you've got your 8s on the deck, your kings on the deck, your aces on the deck. Now, the great thing about this is, and this is the part that will fool magicians, there are no breaks ever in this trick. You're just going to do it by doing the switch anywhere you want. So you start by spreading your 4 aces out onto the deck, and as you displace the cards, you just take your finger and riffle down. I riffle down about a quarter of the deck. As long as I'm under 8 cards, I'm fine. And I do the move underneath that whole group of cards. So now I spread over, and I've switched to the 4 kings. Now as I displace, I just have to go under 4 cards. So my finger just digs down, and I grab underneath 4 cards, and I do the move again. And I've got the 4 8s. So once you get the move, that trick's great because there's no setup, except for the 8s and the kings and the aces on top. A little bit of a setup, but there's no preparation. Like, you don't have to get your finger in, you don't have to pinky count, you don't have to worry or stress over a break. It's all pretty simple, and you can just bang it out. And magicians aren't familiar with that idea of switching multiple cards. They don't think you're going to switch 8 cards in. That's the 4 for 4 switch. It's a pretty simple, direct utility switch, and I'm sure you'll find a good place to put it in your repertoire. here we are for the one-on-one of Blueprint. This is my version of the very classic fingerprint trick by Di Vernon, and I just basically kind of streamlined it, made it fit me. I have some presentation ideas and timing tips, and I tried to take every single move out of the trick to make it almost self-working. So here we are. Here's my version of the fingerprint trick, Blueprint. Okay, basically you need a deck of cards and someone to pick one. So do me a favor, take out a card, and it could be any card. It can be. Okay, you got it? Okay, put it back. So your card's lost in the deck. Now you just touched the card. You did a couple of things. Number one, you put your scent on the card, so I should be able to smell your card. Also, you put your fingerprint. Let me see your hand. Looks pretty good. Maybe we can find it. So let's see if we can get it here. I think it's somewhere near the top here. I think we got it close. Okay, now one thing that I'm going to show you the cards, and if I don't get it, I'll just drop it on the floor. Don't need it anymore, sort of discard it. Now, one thing that's very important, if you see your card, don't say anything because I should spot it. It might take me 2 times. No. Let me see your thumb. Yeah, I think we got it right here. That's your card, the Jack of Hearts? Yeah. Oh, what was it?
King of Diamonds.
Oh, King of Diamonds. That's what I thought I showed you. That is Blueprint. Okay, before we get to the handling, I need to tell you a little, it's not really a gimmick, but a little thing I did to the cards to make this trick work for me. I almost always in a deck of cards have a breather crimp. So this card, the 10 of spades, has a breather crimp in it. It's just like an inward belly crimp. All you need to do to make it is you're going to take your fingers and thumb and pinch it together. So you've got your forefinger and your second finger, and you pinch your thumb in between the two. That's how you pinch it. So grab the card in the middle, pull out. So basically I'm pushing down with my thumb and it's bending the card. You want to do that with the thumb on the back, the forefinger and second finger on the face. Do it with both sides. And now you do it as an X. So you should have an X from corner to corner of a little crimp so you can kind of see it on the back there. And so it's bellying itself forward to the front. That allows you to always be able to cut to this card. So now that you know that, let's show you the trick. Here we are for the handling of Blueprint. Okay, so you already know that you have a card, the breather crimp card. It's this 10 of spades. Now what that does is, I didn't really show you how to cut it. If that card's in the middle of the deck, you can just set it on your hand, squared up, and you can cut to it pretty much every time. Because there's a little sort of indentation in the center, and also it kind of gives you a little air pocket, which makes you almost no matter where you grab it, you cut to that card. So that card you want to have on the bottom of the pack, and then you want to put 4 cards, could be any 4 cards, below it. So what your setup is the deck, 4 cards, breather crimped card. Could be anything, doesn't have to be the 10 of spades. That's your setup. Now you're going to have a card selected, and the selection process is going to be a little odd, probably feel a little strange at first, but I wanted to avoid having a card selected and then square the deck up, cut the deck, and then have them put the card in the deck, and then I cut my selection. That feels fishy to me, and it feels like I've controlled where they put the card. So I want the people to feel like they selected a card and put it back from that random place that they selected it. So to do that, you're going to, if you naturally hold the deck in your left hand, which I do, and you spread to your right hand, you're going to do the opposite to have the card selected. You're going to hold the deck in your right hand and spread to your left hand. Now, as you can see, it's not as graceful as a spread. It's just a spread. It's going to feel weird because it does feel strange to spread a deck that way. So you do that. You spread the cards, and you have a person select a card. So they select a card. Now you break the cards right there where they selected it, so it looks very fair. Now, as they're showing the card around, you're saying, "Show it to everybody. Don't let me see it." You bring the cards back to near your body, and you square up each packet. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take your natural dealing hand, the left hand, and push them forward at the same time that you do this with your right hand. Push these so it looks like it's the same position that they just selected the card from, but you've just reversed the 2 positions. So once you come back, you do that, you say, place the card back. So go ahead and please put the card back. and you can show it around if you'd like. Again, it's very fair. Now you put these cards on top, and it's lost in the center. But what you've really done is you've placed your little setup right on top of it, and it looks very natural. Now, you can dribble the cards, you can give them to someone for a second, you can do whatever you want because you don't have a break. You don't have any way to look like you're controlling the card. So take advantage of that. So while I'm holding the deck in my hand, I say, let me see your thumb, let me see your hand. And I look at their thumb and I look at their finger. Whatever you want to do at this position, however you want to use as your way to detect the card later, you do. And now you go, okay, I think your card's somewhere near the middle. You just take the deck and cut it. And naturally, you just cut toward where the 10 is, because you know where they pretty much selected it. So there's the 10. Just cut the deck. And if you want, once you've cut it, you can check and say, I think your card's, that's not it, is it? Whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter if you feel you have to do a little quick check to make sure that you cut to the 10. You can just look. It's not going to hurt anything. So yeah, I think your card's somewhere here near the top. So at this point, you spread the deck to 5 cards. So there's their card right there. And you get a little pinky break underneath that card. So not a big one, just a little pinky break just like that. So now you're going to show them the cards one at a time and then drop them on the floor. Now I always like to drop them on the floor because it's great. They see them fall all the way down. It's just kind of a great visual. So the first one is a natural thing. You're going to turn the top card over and show it to them and then turn it over and drop it. But the way you turn it over, you want them to all look the same. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. I'm going to show you the way that I do it, and then in the tips I'll show you an easier way that if you're having a problem with this particular move, a really, really easy way to do it. So what I do is I push the card over a little, and I grab it with my second finger and forefinger and my thumb on the top, and I pull it to the edge of the other card, so right here to the edge of the deck. And I sort of flip it over like a book. So that's how I turn over a card. So you look at the first card. So it's, well, that's not it. No, that's not it. And you drop it on the ground. Now you look at another one, same exact thing, pull it over, turn it over, pull it back, turn it down. That's not your card. Now this card is that you're going to show them. You're going to do a triple lift. You're actually going to be showing them their card. At this point, you don't want them to say anything. So as I'm showing it, I do 2 things. One is I'm going to say, remember, don't say anything if you see your card. And I also, at that point, I look up at them so that they kind of think that I didn't look at that card. So as I turn it over, I go, remember, if you see your card, don't say anything. But I leave it there long enough to make sure. I watch their eyes look at the card. So as soon as you know they've seen their card, you turn it back over. And the method for turning it over is the same basic thing. You're going to reach in with your second finger and forefinger and reach in that break and grab those 3 cards with your thumb on top. Pull them to the edge, and now you just set them down on the deck just like a book. And what happens, though, is your hand, you squeeze a little bit and you get the palm of your hand. You're going to drop the card so it lands on that palm of your hand like that. It's called an ultimate trap. And at this point, you take your thumb and push on the top right here and release a little bit of pressure with your pinky. The back corner will pop back up, and that will allow you to reach in there and the same exact way, grab that card and turn it back over. So again, you've got that little break, so you come in and say, you look at them. Remember, if you see your card, don't say anything. Now the ultimate trap pops it back up. As soon as you know they've seen it, you grab it, turn it back over, and immediately don't give them a chance to say anything again, drop it on the ground. You go straight up to the deck, take the top card, turn it over the same way. No, that's not your card either. Drop that one down. Now this is their card. This is the same card that they think you've dropped. So now I take it off and I look at it. I think I've got it. Let me see your thumb again. I think that's it. And at that moment, I need to get a break underneath this top card. Now to do that, I don't want to go and push it over very far. So I barely push it. Barely, barely. Not even as far as the white border. And I stick my pinky there. I pull it back. So I get a tiny little break. So I go, I think that's your card. Set it right back on top of the other card, squared up. Yeah, there's your fingerprint right there. Now you reach in again. Now you're going to do a double lift, just like you did the triple lift. Reach in, grab the card, pull it to the side, turn it over, let it land on the pad of your hand, pop it up, reach back in, grab it, and as you're doing it, you say, that's it, that's your card, the Queen of Spades. Take that top card off, and they'll say, no. Say, what was it? They'll name the card that they think you dropped on the ground, and then at that point you go, oh, that's what I thought it was, and you show the card. You got it? And that is Blueprint. So here are some tips and ideas for Blueprint, some things that might make it a little easier for you, and then there's one thing that is a little bit harder than the way I just described it, so I'll go through those. This is once you've had the card replaced and it's put back and you're in the position where you have your breather crimp card, the 10 of spades, and it's 4 cards and then their selection. When you're in that position, the cards are in the center of the deck. I mentioned to just cut the deck there, cut it and say, oh, it's not there, it's not here, whatever. I think that's a little too obvious, so I take the deck, and just like I would do a Pharaoh shuffle, I take the deck like I'm going to cut it, so it's right here in half. I take my thumb and I cut the deck in half. Now it's great because I can also see the 10 of spades. So there's the 10 of spades right there, you can see it. So again, I just take my thumb, break it at the 10 of spades, I come back. Now I'm going to butt them together so they're nice and square, and I do a Pharaoh. Now, you're only going to do a partial Pharaoh because these are the cards you need to stay on the top. So the top 5 cards, at least, have to stay on the top. So again, you're here. There's you go, cut it to the 10, butt them together to square them up. Now, make sure that the top 5 cards stay on the top. And that's how I get into that, as opposed to, I think that's better, it looks like you're shuffling the cards, as opposed to just cutting the deck. So that gets you in the position where you are 4 cards on top of this selected card. So now, once you've gotten, if you can't do that double lift that I showed, the one where you pull the card out and turn it over like a book. Some people that's a little difficult and they have a hard time with the almond trap. If you do, you can do this, which is just as good, and it's very, very simple. So after the point where you've spread and you've gotten your break underneath 5 cards, so there's 5 cards and I've got a little tiny break, you can just do this. Push the top card over just a little bit, keeping your break. And you want to reach down and grab the card from the top and just show it. And put it right back on the top and say, no, it's not that one. Do the same thing with the next card. Push it over a little bit, grab it, not that one. Now for the third one, just like you would before, you say, remember, if you see anything, don't say anything. You reach down and you grab all 3 cards, just like this, and turn them over and show them. So remember, if you see anything, don't say anything. Set it right back on the top. Now spread it off, drop it. Now spread the next one. This is again another odd card. Show it, put it on the top, drop it. Now you just go right back where you were. You say, I think that's it. And as you look at it, you get your little finger break right here. Put that card back on the top. Again, show it. Say, that's it, the King of Spades. They say, no. What was it? 5 of diamonds, and that's the end of the trick. You can throw any double lift in there, but you want to make sure that all of them look identical, or at least very, very close. So those are my tips, and that is my version of the classic fingerprint trick by Di Vernon. There's versions, Paul Harris has a great version. There's the slap trick version, the Dunbury Delusion kind of style tricks, but I think the fingerprint idea is the best. So there you go. That is my version and my handling, and it's called Blueprint. Hi, I'm Chris Kenner, and welcome to the one-on-one for election. We call this election. It has nothing to do with politics. It's actually because you're elected to pick whichever card you want, so that's sort of the reason. I actually wanted to call it coincidizzle because it's a coincidence type trick, but I was kind of voted down, and we called it election. Now, how this trick came about is I was recently playing with an effect by Paul Vigil called Sympathy of the Devil, or Sympathy with the Devil. I can't remember the exact title, but you'll find that if you look it up. It's a great trick. Sympathy with the Devil, or Sympathy for the Devil, Sympathy of the Devil, Sympathy the Devil's Sympathy by Paul Vigil. It is a fantastic trick. Actually, honestly, you could just do that trick all by itself in a card setting, or you could close with that trick. It's that strong of an effect. And that reminded me of this trick that I had done that was a packet trick that I actually purchased as a kid with ESP cards, with ESP symbols. And over the years, I've sort of developed versions of it, different versions of it, with a regular deck of cards. So here we go. This is election, and I hope you like it. Or coincidizzle. Fazzizzle my nizzle. So here we are with the trick election, or as I like to call it, coincidizzle. So all you need is a pack of cards and your charming smile, or whatever you've got for personality, which who knows nowadays. So it's pretty simple. What I'm going to do is lay the cards out. I'll deal some cards in a row. I'll actually deal as many as I can here on this pad. So what is that, 8? Yeah, that's about 8 cards. Deal them out in a nice little row. Now I'm going to, this is where the sort of the coincidence part, where you get to elect what I do. So it's your decision, it's not my decision. If you say yes, I'm going to deal the card down and leave it right here. If you say no, I'll deal the card down and push it up. That means it gives me like a no pile. So I'll have a yes row and a no row. It's very, very simple. So, are you ready? Let's go for yes or no. Oh, actually, Mr. Cameraman, you're the only one here to help. Are you willing to help me? So we have a giant, you can't see him, but he's a giant cartoon character. It's really hard to work with these people. They're union, so. Okay, so Mr. Cameraman, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. We'll leave that right here. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or no?
No.
No, we'll take this one and push it forward. Yes or no?
No.
Push it forward. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, but sure, you change your mind.
Yes.
Yes, you want to change your mind?
No.
So no, you want it no?
Yes, I want it yes.
Yes, you want it yes. You all of a sudden don't sound like a cartoon character anymore. So yes, we keep this one yes. This one?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. This one?
No.
Perfect. And one more. Last choice.
Yes.
Important.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, now if you think about it, anything you would have done would have altered this situation when we would have put the cards down. So, let's take a look at what we got here. You said no here. No. Well, I don't even really know what no is supposed to mean, but these don't match, so we've got a no. Take a look here. These, wow, look at these. These don't match either. I mean, they match their spades, you know, but they don't match. It's close, like 2 off. And these, they don't match. So let's see if we have a trick here. Let's take a look at these guys. Let's take a look at our first pair. They match. Our second pair. They match. Third. Fourth. And of course the last one. And again, that is a coincidizzle. Okay, so I'm going to go over 2 different handlings for this trick. One is the way that I just did it, which is a little bit more of an advanced handling because you need to be able to do a second deal. And then there's another handling which is very, very simple that uses a move called the glide, which is a very sort of simple, kind of common old school move. But I have a way to disguise the move so it doesn't look so much like the glide, which I will be more than happy to show you. So here is the method. It's really very, very simple. And what's great is it's so simple and it's kind of diabolical. It kind of passes right by even people that have done a lot of magic and a lot of card tricks. So here you go. Here's how it works. All you need to do is there's a little bitty setup at the beginning. And that you take any 8 cards. Let's say we've got, this is our order here, 8, queen, whatever you've got here. Now you make a duplicate of those cards, obviously with the suits. If you got hearts, here's my diamonds, spades, clubs, so they all match. So you've got like a little matching thing here. So I always put them in 2 rows just to make sure that I have them correct. Instead of trying to spread them out and look at them and check them, I actually set them out in 2 rows so I can see them, so that I know that it matches. So they match. So only thing else you have to do to this is you're going to put one of these setups on the top, and as soon as you do that, you take any card and place it on the top of that. So now you have your little setup starting with the 8, which is this card right here on the table. That's the first card you're going to deal down. And you've got 1 card on top of it. So that's the only thing that's different about the order of these cards, is there's 1 extra card on the top. So you square those up, square these up, and put them on the top, and you're ready to go. So Here, you need to do any sort of false shuffle or false cut that you know. So there's a couple of things that you can do to sort of disguise this. If you want to come out and pull out 4 aces and do an ace trick, just do anything with the deck or do another trick with, say, a smaller group of cards so it doesn't seem like you want to get them as far away from thinking that you just took the deck out of the box and it's set up. So you can do that kind of a misdirected setup kind of thing where you've got such a time misdirection in between the time that you started performing and the time that you do the trick, which kind of makes them think in their head, well, they had to have shuffled somewhere in there, or they have to be mixed up. So, or you can just do a false shuffle. Now, the simplest false shuffle in this case for me is an overhand shuffle where I would just pull half the cards off, just like you would do an overhand shuffle. So pull about half the cards off, and then as you go down to shuffle, you take those back. But I take them like this, like a giant, because you're going to shuffle real casual. And then just shuffle these all off till you're done, and then toss your cards back on top. So it's very simple. It's just a big group. You take them back. You're pinching them between your ring finger and your second finger. So just like that, I've got a nice big, and now you just shuffle. Throw that last group. Here's your ones. Toss them on. That's a simple false shuffle. So again, that just looks real casual, and you just talk and do it. If you say, watch me shuffle the cards, they probably would see that giant break. But if you're real casual about it, they won't see it. And another thing that you can do if you have a table, which you do need for this trick, if you have a pad, you can just break the cards and break just a few cards off the bottom and do it very quickly. Just kind of shuffle, and then I use my entire hands to cover the shuffle. And you just shuffle them into the bottom part of the card. So you just do that, so you're not really shuffling this top portion. And again, if that's casual and just simple, you're good. And if you can even go to the point of saying, these cards are all mixed up, just kind of mix them up on the table, and you're not really doing anything. You just put them back. That's sort of the way Leonard Green has a bunch of different false shuffles and false things like that. So anything you can do to let them think the deck has been shuffled. So now, you just take and deal 8 cards onto the table. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what you've got is the cards that you set up are now on the top in this order. There's an extra card, which is the 10, and then this card, this next card, corresponds with this card, and then then it keeps going on and on. So all you need to do is you need to remember one thing. If they say yes, you do a second deal. Now what a second deal is that means that you don't take the top card, you take the second card, but it's supposed to look like you took the top card. I think everybody that's probably watching this exactly knows what a second deal means. I'll give you the briefest explanation of the second deal. You find that anywhere on the internet. There's plenty of ways to figure out how to do a second deal. I'm not really here to teach it. I'm not an expert at the second deal. Jason England did a second deal one-on-one, which is fantastic with the strike second deal. So the strike is also what I use. So here's kind of the way that I do it. So the cards are in your hand, and you've got to basically take the second card. So I do a strike, and that allows me to, normally when I push a card off, I push the card off, and you take a card to deal it down. So in a second deal, you push the card off, and your thumb comes over, and you strike this second card and take it as you put it down. Now, in this particular case, again, I don't necessarily think that I have the greatest second deal on the earth, so what I always do is I necktie the deck so that what that means is you bring the deck to here so they can't see anything. So you can actually, open the card that far if you really want. So the necktie would do this. It would come up towards myself, I would take the card off, and place it down. So again, the order doesn't matter, and all you need to remember is when they say yes, you do a second deal. When they say no, you actually deal the top card. So let's say they say yes here. So you do a second deal. Come on, do a second deal. They say yes here. Second deal. They say yes here. Another second deal. So we'll just deal a second card. They say no. Now you deal the top card. Now this again, you're back into your same pattern for a second deal. Let's say they say no, and you push the card forward because that's your second row, the no row. Let's say they say no again. You deal the top card again. They say yes here. You deal the top card. And it doesn't matter, or excuse me, if they say yes, you deal the second card. They say yes here. Again, you deal the second card. They say no here. You deal the top card. And again, it doesn't matter when or what the order is. It will always work. If they say yes every time, the second deal will work for each one. If they say no every time and they only say yes once, it will still work. So no matter what the outcome, it's always going to work. Now, one thing that I like to do is if you just turn these cards over, they may notice that this jack and this jack is kind of a tip-off a little bit if they're smart. So what I try to do is, since there's multiple no's, I pick them up not in the order just like this. So the first no, you pick it up and you say, well, this one, look, it's, well, these are close. They don't match, but they're close. You can say anything you want because it's going to be kind of random. But they don't match. So we'll get rid of these guys. Now jump over to one that's not right next to it. And it's okay if that's the only two they said no to. I would wait a few seconds and then show them, which is another reason to take them, turn them over, and put them back face down in the pack. So you take these, again, show these. Oh, these are no's. They don't match. Place that on the pack. This is a no. They don't match. I wonder what yes meant. Let's see what yes meant. Take our first one. I know what it means. It means they matched. That's a coincidence. And then these match. These match. These match. And of course these match because they have to. Now, this trick, one thing about this trick, you don't want to underestimate the power of this effect. So don't do it as a throwaway trick. Actually do a really strong presentation for this trick. This can become quite a signature piece, even though it's a very simple method and a very simple idea. But what makes this great is there's not much to it. It is exactly what it is. It's a very simple and direct trick that people can understand, and they will remember this later. This recently, like I said, I've been playing with Paul Vigil's effect, Sympathy of the Devil, and I kind of have done this quite a few times in the past week or so, just because it's fresh in my mind. And I'm amazed at the reaction that this gets. I have forgotten how great of a trick this is. So I hope you enjoy it. That is Election, and stay tuned for the self-working or simpler handling. So here we are for the simplified version of Election. Now this one, the last one, obviously used a second deal. So if you don't know a second deal, or the second deal you feel too scared to do it, which I do understand that took me years before I would deal with doing a bottom deal for any trick. But now I feel very comfortable with it, so I have no problem. So I do understand that feeling. So if you can't, and again, you can use the glide. Now the glide, you may like, even if you know a second deal, you may like this method better because I use the glide with a card box. But the glide is basically an old move. It's been around for forever. And that is, you're basically going to take, instead of taking the bottom card of the deck, if you're going to take the cards off the deck one at a time and set them down, instead of taking them off like that, what you do is, when you do the glide, you pull back with your hand a little bit and you take the second card. So it's kind of like a second deal in a way, but there's no way they can see it because it's all done underneath. This is done down like this. So that's called the glide. Now again, I'm going to describe it in the card box, but if you want to just do it without the card box, you can do it if you know the glide, just as a move with the glide and take the cards off one at a time. So feel free to do it that way if you like. And here we go. This is the simplified version of Election. So this is going to sound a little contrived of a setup because you're going to go, why didn't he just do this or that or set it up like, or just show it to me like that? The reason is because the way I'm describing to you, I will never make a mistake with the setup this way because it's a kind of an odd setup. So here we go. Here's how you do it. You're going to have a normal setup pack of whatever you want, your order of cards. You've got your 8 cards, and they're going to go on the top of the deck. So that's what's going to happen. So you take those 8 cards, and you spread them out on the table. But I spread them the reverse way, like this, so that the top card is here, and this is the bottom card of that spread. Okay, now I know this is going to sound confusing, but when you see why I do it this way, I will never make the mistake of the order. And I have done that before by setting it up other ways. So now I just take my other set that matches these, and I put them in the matching order so I can look at them. So king, queen, ace, 9, 8, queen, 5, 7. So it's perfect. Now the reason I do this again is so that I can see them like this. But when what they really are set up is is this is the bottom of the deck, and that's the top of the deck. So you're in the reverse order. So what's on the bottom is on the top. What's second from the top is second from the bottom. Third, same, so on. So that's your setup. So that's the top part. So you've got a 7 on the top, followed by the 5, the queen. That goes on the top of the deck. Now you take these cards, you put them on the bottom. So you've got your 7, your 5, and the queen on the bottom in that same sort of reverse order. So the reason I spread them out like that is so that I can visually see them. I want to make sure that I see that they're set up exactly. Because if I don't do that, if one card is off, the trick just doesn't work. And nothing will match. So that's how you set it up. And the only other thing you do is take any card, other card, and put it on the bottom of the deck. And now you're ready to go. So again, take the card out of the box. Now to do a false shuffle here, it's different because you have to retain the top and bottom stack. So to do that, I just simply cut the deck in half, and you shuffle a bunch of cards from the bottom, shuffle, and then you let the top fall. And just do that real casual, and you don't make a big deal out of it and say, I'm going to do a quick little thing, this is kind of cool. I'll use a bunch of cards, and you act like you don't care how many cards there are, but you know it has to be 8. So again, you just kind of, as quickly as you can, you just deal the cards down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. So you've got 8 cards. And now you're going to do your glide move. Now you say, tell you what, as a matter of fact, everybody accuses me of doing moves or doing something funny. And you can hand them the box beforehand. You could even tell them to put the cards in the box if you wanted. So from here, you're going to do the glide, but you're going to do it in the card case. Now you will be able to do it also as a regular glide, but I'm going to teach it to you in the card case. So again, I say, look, I can't manipulate the cards because they're in the box. I can't do anything funny. So I'm going to take the cards, and so you can see them. I'll leave them sticking out. And I'm going to take the cards one at a time. I'm going to touch my finger to the bottom of the card. And all you've got to do is say yes or no. And if you say yes, we just deal the card down. And if you say no, we deal the card down and push it forward. It's your choice. You get to make the choice. And at any time, you can change your mind. You just make up whatever story you want to make up. So the glide is basically this. All you need to do is take your finger, I use my second finger, and I push this bottom card backwards just a little bit. So just a tiny, tiny little bit, you push the card back. So now that allows you to do one of two things. If they say yes, you take the second card, which is this one. If they say no, you take the card that's actually on the bottom. So my fingers get a little dry, so let's get a little moist here. So let's say that they say yes. Now that would mean you would take this card. So you pull this card out. Now as you can see from the top, see it sort of made a little, it pulled this card with it. So you just kind of tap that back in. And now you do it again. You say yes or no. And again, you're just in the same position. So as they say yes, you take the card. They say yes again, you can take this card. They say no, now you take this one. Put that one down, push it forward. Now you square it up again with your finger and push back just a little bit, allowing you to do the glide. And what's great is you can push it back if you've got them sticking out as far as you want, because that card is hidden by the card box. And you've got this really weird situation with the card box anyway. So now again, let's say they say yes, you pull the card, this one out. They say no, you take this one, push them forward. They say no again, you actually can just take the bottom card, and then if they say yes for the last one, you do the glide, you do the move, and you're here. So that leaves you with your cards. You're done, basically. So you can leave the cards in the box and do the same thing. Show these don't match. Again, don't take the next one in line. Go over here. Doesn't match. That's great. These don't match. Let's take a look. And you got a small miracle. And again, I really want to stress, don't just throw this trick away and do it real fast. Make it a big presentation. Make it like it's a real miracle. Because if they think about it in their head, it's really kind of a brain teaser. It really makes them go, how could that work? I mean, if I would have said no here, and what if I moved? So it's a pretty cool, cool and very, very, very simple, powerful trick. So there you go. That is election. So that was election. I do want to say one thing that's the most important part of this trick. I know it's a very simple effect. It's a very simple method, which I'm it's weird because that kind of scares some people off, and they end up not doing a trick that's this simple of an effect. They want these complicated, trick over here and a card over here, and there's a sandwiched in the cards. This is really simple, really powerful, and it's a great effect. So don't blow it off. Remember to just take your presentation and make it a real powerful, get some meat to this presentation, and you'll have a real strong trick to add to your repertoire. I also want to thank the guy in the 70s, whoever created this thing, because I cannot find out exactly where it came from. And it's really not the same trick, so I'm not really just duplicating the effect. It's a different handling completely, and sort of a different way to lay the cards out. So thank you, Mr. 70s guy, even though I can't find out who you were, but you're awesome. And Paul Vigil, again, he probably doesn't realize why I'm thanking him, but he's the one that sort of, about a month ago when I started playing with his Sympathy of the Devil trick, kind of brought this back out to the forefront in my thought process. So Paul's stuff is fantastic. If you haven't heard of Paul or you don't know who Paul is, look him up online, Paul Vigil. Everything that he does is really, really great. Always, all of it is worth a look. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the lecture, or coincidizzle, as I like to call it. So that's it. See you guys next time. Hello, I'm Chris Kenner, and welcome to the one-on-one for GPS. I call it GPS. It's a card location, so basically you don't know where the card is and you need to locate it, just like you would if you had a car and you used your GPS navigation system. So here we go. Here's what GPS looks like. So here we are. We're going to jump into the trick. We're going to use my lovely wife, Katie, and our little baby Zoe. She's right here. Whoa! Ah, you can see her. No, no. See, gag. She hates when I do that, but that's totally another story. Okay, so she's going to be my volunteer for this. So first off, let's jump into the trick. So here we go. Got a deck of cards. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to cut the deck into two piles. Actually, shuffle both piles. You're an awesome shuffler, honey. Okay, satisfied?
Yes.
Okay. Which pile do you want to use? Doesn't matter.
This one.
Pick it up. All right, shuffle them again. Because actually, now don't let me ever see any of the faces of the cards, so you think that I have a key card or anything. So go ahead and shuffle them again. Okay. Satisfied? Okay, now deal the cards onto the table. Just go ahead and deal them into a pile. And stop whenever you like. Okay, right there. Mm-hmm. Take a look at that card, but make sure I don't see it. Show the camera.
Okay.
Put it back. Okay, put those cards on top. Now take these cards and go ahead and shuffle them into those. Okay. Now I would say it would be impossible for me to know what your card is. Mm-hmm. Correct?
Correct.
Let's see if I can find it. Card.
6 of clubs.
The 6 of clubs. And that is GPS. So I'm going to give you a little history on GPS. One of my favorite effects in card magic is a card location, a simple card location. So when I mean simple, I mean that the person selects a card, they shuffle the cards, they put it in, and it seems completely impossible that you could even remotely know what that card is, and then you end up finding it whichever way. Even if you just run through the deck and find it, it's still a pretty strong and powerful trick. And this particular effect uses a very, very, very old method. You can find it in print way, way, way back. But I tried to disguise it so it's, doesn't look like what it is. So let's go into description of GPS. So I love the method for this trick. I've used it on many, many times, and this flies by people. I do this trick for people. I do this kind of style trick for magicians, and it pretty much, if they're really not familiar with this method, it fools them pretty good. So here's what it is. Basically, you have a pack of cards. So here's your deck of cards, and as you can see, it's in random order, and it's just a shuffled deck of cards. Now, the only thing that if you take a really close look that you'll notice is that these cards are separated. All the clubs and the diamonds are on the bottom half, and all the spades and the hearts are on the top half. So that's all you have to do is separate right here. We've got the clubs and the diamonds here, and the spades and the hearts are here. So, and they're all mixed up, and it doesn't matter. They're in no order. I'm horrible. I can never memorize cards, so I love things that I don't have to remember anything. So they're just set up like that. Now, to describe the trick, I'm going to do it with a deck that's red, black, red, black. So assume that the red ones, this will just make it easier to teach, that the red ones are the clubs and the diamonds, and the hearts of the spades are the black ones. So that'll make it really easy when we describe the effect. So here's what you do. So I put a breather crimp, but that's not necessary. You don't have to do it. So I breather crimp that card. That's the 26 from the top. So that would be the bottom of my, this will be hearts and spades, but we'll call them reds and blacks for demonstration purposes. So I take the deck, I cut it directly in half. If you want to peek check to check, which you should, because I didn't cut them there you go. That way you've got exactly half and half. So you've got the reds and the blacks, which is again the diamonds and clubs, hearts and spades. So you ask the spectator to shuffle both piles. So they take either both piles, they can shuffle them any way they like, doesn't matter how they shuffle them. Shuffle this pack. Again, it doesn't matter how they shuffle them. There's no key cards, nothing like that involved in this trick. So both packets are shuffled. You don't know anything about the cards except those are clubs and diamonds, and those are hearts and spades. Or in our case, these are red, these are black. So they pick a pile. Let's say they pick the red pile. Now they pick it up, tell them to give it a shuffle again. They give it another shuffle. Now you have them deal the cards into a pile. Now, sometimes depending on the spectator, you might want to say slowly if they're kind of an aggressive person. You say just deal them nice and slowly into a pile on the table. And as they deal, you count the cards as they're dealing. So you count 1, 2, 3, and about after the third card, you say, and stop anytime you like. So they keep counting, 3, 4. In your head, you're counting. Obviously, don't move your lips and count. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and they say stop. You say, okay, now don't let me see it, but take a peek at that card. Just peek at it so that you know what it is. So they take it and they lift it up and they keep it right there. So in this case, it's the 9 of hearts. Okay? So they look at it, put it back, take the cards that are remaining in your hands. If you want, you can tell them to shuffle them. It doesn't matter. Put the cards back here. And now, the one thing that you know is that their card is the 9th card from the bottom of this pack. So, and again, in our case, it's all red, but in your real case, it'll be clubs and diamonds, or hearts and spades, whichever it happens to be. So now, when they shuffle, this is the important thing here is when you say shuffle the two packets together, I give it a little riffle like this so that they know that they're supposed to riffle shuffle the cards together. So now, this makes it super impossible. They riffle shuffle the cards together, they square them up, you say your card's lost in the deck, show them they've just destroyed any setup that you had by shuffling the cards together, so there's nothing to see. You just show the cards, and now the trick happens. You take and you run through the deck, and what's going to happen here is as I run through the pack, I count. In this case, I'm going to just count the red cards, but normally you would count the clubs and the diamonds. So here I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's their card, the 9 of hearts. So once you have in that position, pull the card out, ask them their card, and you got a pretty good miracle. So that is GPS. Here's a couple of things to remember. Now I know I probably don't have to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Obviously, during this trick, I explained it with the cards being separated red and black, but you really want to do it where it's clubs and diamonds on the bottom, hearts and spades, so your two halves would end up being clubs and diamonds in one half, hearts and spades in the other, not red and black. You could obviously do the trick that way and it would still work. If they never look at the faces, it would be no problem. But to be a little more deceptive, it's best if it's clubs and diamonds, hearts and spades. Another thing in the trick, I mentioned a breather crimp. Now, I'm really not going to go over a breather crimp here. It's pretty easy. You can look it up kind of anywhere. But you don't have to use a breather crimp at all. You can just take the cards. They don't really know what's going on at this point. You're not saying, now watch, take the cards, I'll cut them into two halves. You just casually spread through the deck, break them at the spot where you've got hearts and clubs on one side, or spades and hearts, yeah. Spades and hearts on one side, clubs and diamonds on the other. Just separate there and set down the two halves and say, you shuffle both halves. So you don't have to have a breather crimp. I just kind of like it because it adds one more little thing when you cut the pack. So that is it. That's the wrap up for GPS. I hope you enjoy it, and you will see you next time. Hello, I'm Chris Kenner, and welcome to the one-on-one of Hellbound Spellbound from my book, Totally Out of Control. I hope you enjoy it. It's a little trick with a couple of coins. $50. It's kind of cool if I give it a little rub. Looks copper. Actually, you know it's really silver. You probably think I used an extra coin. Oh, I wouldn't. Oh, actually, they're both silver. I do have two coins. That's two coins. One on the left, one on the right. Give it a little squeeze. First one jumps across, or the one jumps across. Actually, I give it a little squeeze. Remember those copper coins? Hellbound, spellbound. We go to hell and I'm driving. Here we are to the explanation of Hellbound, Spellbound. It is from my book, Totally Out of Control. It's on page 22. I actually have no idea what page it's on. But here we go. The explanation is, the basics of this is there's no gimmicks. It's just 4 coins. You've got 2 silver $half, or any $half. They don't have to be, silver, and 2 English pennies. They can be, any English penny. Now, the only thing you need to know how to do is palm 2 coins at once and drop one at a time, which is, pretty much general magic skill for coins. Here's your setup. As hard as I can, I push the English penny and a $half. I palm them. Some people put it back a little further, and some people put it up a little bit further, or down a little bit. I kind of put it right about there, and you can push it in as hard as you want, just with your thumb against this pad. So these 2 pads, pushing pressure, allows you to hold the coin. Then you can just have your hand as natural as can be. The only thing that you got to do to this is now finger palm a coin in that same hand. So I just use my ring finger to hold the coin. So you've got the other English penny finger palm. It was a little bit more complicated in my book, and over the years I just, after really performing it for people, I simplified it to this because it's just the cleanest, simplest version of this trick. So you start off by, you want them to just think you've got one $half, and I make it very casual. I don't go, here's a $half, look at it, check it out. I almost want them to think that it's gimmicked in a way, but I do want to still show both sides. So show the $half. Now you want to hold it at your fingertips, that classic sort of spellbound changing position. Now your right hand, you're going to take your right hand, and it's going to be at your side, and you're going to take your thumb and put it on the coin. Now I'm going to come up and I'm going to make the change, and all the change is the change is going to look like, I'll do the change, so it looks like this. So that's your change, but what you're doing is this. So you come over just to wave your hands over the coin. As soon as the thumb hits the coin, you drop the $half. It just lands naturally in the finger palm position, and you take the English penny. So now you're going to drop your right hand to your side. So you do your change, and your hand comes to the side. You drop the coin into the finger palm position. So the reason that you're doing it at your side is so you can take your thumb, if you need to, and adjust it so that it's in the finger palm. Now the reason that you're going to do this is you're going to switch the $half that's right here for this English penny. So it looks like this. That's what it looks like. And what you're doing is this. You come across, and your thumb goes under, and you're going to do like a little wave. So as you come around, your thumb's going to take this coin in thumb palm, and then you put your thumb on top of that half dollar and allow your hand to continue, and then you grab the half dollar, making the change. So again, slowly, you come across, your hand is kind of swinging around, and you make sure you keep your fingers closed so that you're not exposing this coin from the front. So you come around, you clip it, your thumb goes to here, you set it in the same position, and you show that coin changed. If you don't do that super great, it's not going to really matter because of what happens next. As you do the change, as soon as you do it, you say, you probably think I use an extra coin. Now, a couple things are going to happen as you say that. You're going to say, oh, no, I wouldn't do that. And then you click the, you'd let it fall so they hear the noise. A lot of people think I use an extra coin. Well, I wouldn't do that. Oh. And then as soon as you hear that coin fall, another thing is going to happen at the same time. So you come down, and your right hand comes down, and you let that coin fall into your fingertips. So now it's just resting on your fingertips at your side. So I'm going to put the hands kind of together, but this hand will be at your side. As you drop this one, you palm that coin so that the noise is covered, because this is going to make noise. And you push that coin up in there. And you want to push it up pretty hard. It's not going to be like you're going to try to do it softly. I do it really hard, and I push the coin up in there. And they usually never look because you're making that sound with your hand. So, and I also don't really show them the coins immediately. I don't let them fall and see that they're both silver. The idea is that they think that you're now going to open your hand and have a copper and a silver coin. So that's the first surprise. A lot of people think I use an extra coin. Well, I wouldn't do that. Well, actually, I do have two coins, but they're both silver, and now you show the two coins. And now you very cleanly, you've got this coin palmed here, you very cleanly pick a coin up in each hand and show they're both, just half dollars. So right here, what you do is you're going to say there's two coins, and I make a little gesture. I bring my hands together like I've done something funny. So, oh, 2 coins left. And now what you do, and this is the hardest part, and that is to palm this coin as silently as you can on top of this one. So you're going to, as silent as you can, put that coin right there. So how that works and how you do that silently is extend your fingers as far as you can and put that coin on the pad of your thumb. Now you slowly slide it onto those 2 coins and then squeeze. So I'm here. I open my hand and turn over the coin. Now as you close this hand, what's going to happen is I put my thumb right here on pinching it with my forefinger. As I close, I pull it up right on my finger like this. And you're going to open these fingers and set that coin right there on the hand. So here's the coin. Now you get this in the right position. Now as you open this hand, you do that. And again, I keep my thumb down. Now you curl the hands. You do a little shake with this hand. And as I shake here, all you do is release a little pressure. That coin falls right on top of the other one. Now you say, look, this one's gone. It's jumped over here. Again, thumbs pointed down, hiding these coins. Now at this point, you're going to switch these coins for these. And how that works is you toss the coins back and forth a few times, and as soon as you toss them and they land perfectly in your finger palm position, all you do is finger palm the coins as you toss these ones in your palm into the left hand. And then you say, yeah, but remember the copper coins? And you show the copper coins. And then you just use the Ramsey subtlety, like sort of upside down. The Ramsey subtlety is when you have the coins in your hand, and you can show them palm, and you're pointing basically you're pointing the coins at the people. And that is it. That is hellbound, spellbound. Pretty simple, kind of a basic coin trick. Everybody should be able to do that with the first try. Okay, now that I have sort of kind of gone through the effect and how that works and the method. I'm going to go through it as a Cliff Notes version, so you can kind of, if you want to hold the coins in your hand after you've practiced it a little bit, you can maybe watch this section and play with it at the same time. So here's how you start. English penny, $50, palmed. And again, I push those nice and deep in my hand. English penny finger palmed, $50 visible. So you hold it at your fingertips, and again, keep your thumb down, show the coin, put it in your fingertips. Now you're going to put your thumb on the coin, just like this. Come over, drop that to your first change. Now again, at the same time as your hand hits the side, let that fall into your finger palm. Now you're going to come up, and from the front, you're going to make this kind of a motion around it. Take it with your thumb. Put your thumb again on that coin. Changes. Now as your hand goes down to your side, you're going to let this one fall into the fingertips, ready to palm. So at the same time that that you deliver your line, you probably think I used 2 coins. Well, I wouldn't do that. As soon as you say do that, let this coin fall. And at that exact same time, when that clink happens, palm this one. So now you go, well, I do use 2 coins, but they're both silver. Now you show the silver coins. Very cleanly show the 2 coins. Say that's 2 coins. You do your funny little move. Now you're going to palm this one as silently as you can onto those. Now you do your Tenkai penny move. So 1 on the left, 1 on the right. Now you do it, your shake. So there's nothing in here, it's already gone. Your shake and drop the 1. This one's disappeared. Show it first. Show the 2 in this hand. Again, keeping your thumb down, not to expose the pennies in your hand. Now you toss them into the left, toss them into the right, and hope they land in the finger palm. If they don't, not a big deal. You just toss them back until they land in your finger palm, and then you're going to do the switch. Say, but remember the copper coins. That is hellbound, spellbound, the Cliff Notes. The hardest part of this trick is when you're at the position where you have your 2 English pennies palmed, and you need to do this silently. If you can't do this right off the bat, because the rest of this trick is not really that hard if you can palm the coins. If you can't do that, what you do is when you're at the point where you go, I use 2 coins, I wouldn't do that. You don't have to do the Tenkai penny move right here. You can show the coins very cleanly and immediately go into the switch for the coins. And I'll do it right now so you can sort of see the presentation, because it's very quick this way. So here we go. We got a $50. See, if I give it a little squeeze, it looks copper. Actually, you remember it's really silver. Well, you probably think I used an extra coin. I wouldn't do that. Oh, actually I do, but they're both silver. Kind of funny thing is if I give it a squeeze, you remember those copper coins? Now another thing that I do at the very end of the trick, I almost always do this, and I do this with a lot of coin tricks where I have an extra coin that instead of trying to hide the coin and drop the coins on the table, I add the coins together. So what I do at the very, very end is when you do your switch, you say, remember the copper coins, I pick one up, I show them here, again, with your Ramsey subtlety. Now I just take the coins, toss them all into the left hand. Now I try my best to toss these right on top of these coins in the right hand. And if you get it right, if you see that you've caught them correctly, you kind of give it a little bit of a flash, just because they won't see the edges of those coins if you catch them correctly. You can give it a little bit of a flash, then just shake the coins around in your hand. They won't know that there's 4 or 2 or however many you have. I do this trick very casual. A lot of times the spellbound tricks look like this. It's like, here's a coin. Watch, it changes. I rub it. I don't like the trick that way, so for me, the trick is more a body language, and it's, here's a coin, look, it's going to change, oh wow. I move around, I don't make them study the coin. The reason I do that is psychologically, I don't want them trying to go, ooh, what do you got, let me see that coin. So that's my sort of personal way to use my personality to not have them break that fourth wall and try to grab the coins, or to say, hey, let me see your hands. So the more casual I am, and the more of course, if I act like I don't really care about the trick, then the better it is. Alrighty, that was my version of the classic trick Spellbound. Credit-wise, I think you would have to give Vernon some credit. Pretty much all roads lead to Vernon, don't you think? The first person that I saw do Spellbound is a great coin magician and a great friend of mine from St. Louis. His name was Harry Monty. Harry was probably the inspiration for me for this trick. So I would have to say that Harry would be the guy that I would give myself credit for inspiring me to come up with the idea of the changing of the coins and adding the multiple coins and then the switch at the end. And then, of course, obviously there's the Ramsey subtlety of hiding the coins and like this, and then the cap subtlety of palming the coin and holding it like this. Other than that, it's just a bunch of moves put together to make a trick. That's it. Hellbound, Spellbound. We'll see you next time. Hello, I am Chris Kenner, and welcome to Invisible Reverse Surprise Outdone. This is a trick that when I was a kid, about 14, 15 years old, a very, very famous Chicago magician named Jim Ryan showed me this trick. We were performing somewhere, and he said, "Son, I'm going to show you a self-working trick that you're going to use for the rest of your life." And he showed me this, and it's a very simple trick, and I have used it off and on when I need to do a trick for my whole life. So here you go. Deck of cards. I just need to have one selected, so it doesn't matter what it is. Say it's this right here. Show the card. The 6 of clubs. So once the card is selected, you just have it put back. Have them put the card back in the center of the pack. Now, I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to reach inside of that deck, pull a card out invisibly, reverse it, turn it over, and put it back in. Here we go. Let's see if we can get it. There we go. One card is now reversed in the pack. If I run through the deck, the 5. Oh, well, wasn't your card? Well, I didn't really say it was a card, I just said it was the 5. Actually, that 5 is an indicator card that indicates to me that the trick did not work. Actually, it indicates that your card is 5 cards from here, so we'll count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What was your card? The 6 of spades. Well, actually, that's not the end of the card trick. This is right here. And that is Invisible Surprise Reverse Card Trick Outdone again before we get done outdone Inner Circle Secret Trick. Now, like I said, this trick was shown to me about 30 years ago by Jim Ryan, a very famous guy from Chicago, bar magician, incredible performer. It was a treat to be able to have seen him perform. When he taught me this trick, he told me this is a very old idea. It's been around for a long, long time. There are many tricks like this in Royal Road to Card Magic, Tarbell. You're going to find a lot of other references to things that are very similar to this, but this is the way that Jim taught it exactly to me. And it's very simple. There are no moves. It's really easy to do. There is a little setup, and the setup is you just need a deck, 4 aces, and any 5. We'll use the 5 of clubs for my explanation. So what you do is you take your deck, and you're going to put your 5 of clubs face up on the bottom. So now you've got a 5 of clubs face up on the bottom of the pack. Take your 4 aces in any order, and they go underneath the 5. So that order is deck of cards, 5 of clubs, 4 aces. Take this and you put it in your card box, or you can just set it up that way if you can manipulate it while you're doing tricks. So in my case, I just had it in the box. Pull the cards out. Say we'll jump right into doing a trick. So you have a card selected, you spread, you have them pick a card. So they take a card. We'll say they took the Queen of Spades. So after you've had your card selected, you're left with a sort of a little break. You've got a spread in your right hand. In your left hand, you're holding the deck of cards. So what you want to do here is you're going to have the card put back, but you're going to reverse these 2 packets. So in other words, this will become the top, and this will become the bottom. Now how that works is, as they take the card and look at it, you just kind of gesture yourself sideways, and you square these cards up in your hand. So that's all you have to do. You're not going to try to do a fancy move. You just square them up in your hands. Say, okay, put your card back, and you just gesture it like this, and they put the card right there. Now you take your aces pack. I pinch it with my thumb and my ring finger, just a little like thumb pinch. And I open my hands real wide, and I just set that packet right on the top. and square everything up. And your trick is over. So now all you do, it's all presentation. You talk about the invisible card, you reach in and pull out an invisible card, turn it over, you see it, you guys are crazy, whatever you want to do. Now you put it back in, and now when you spread through the cards, you don't say, I'm going to find your card, this is going to be your card. You just say, now there'll be a card reversed. So you spread through the deck, and there it is, the 5 of clubs, and you call it the 5 of clubs. You don't say, there's your card, the 5 of clubs, you say, there's the 5 of clubs. They're going to say, no, that's not my card. And then you get the joke, you say, well, I didn't say it was your card, I said it was the 5. When you do that, you set the deck down, the top half. Actually, it's an indicator card. It indicates that the trick didn't work. Another little joke. Really, it is an indicator card. It indicates that your card is 5 cards from this spot. Now you just deal down 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th card will be their card, the Queen of Spades. And at this point I say, that was actually, to be honest with you, that's not the end of the trick. This is right here. You take these 4 cards, turn them over, and show the 4 aces. And there you go. That is invisible, reverse, surprise, outdone. Alrighty, here we are with a couple of tips for invisible, reverse, surprise, outdone. One of the things that it's a fairly obvious thing, I didn't really mention it, but as you're spreading the cards to have a card selected, make sure that you do not spread too far and flash that reversed 5, because that will not be good. The other thing is try not to let them see that there's an ace on the bottom, because that will also kind of, they may in their brain think later, well, I think the aces are on the bottom, so they may be able to reconstruct the effect. Another thing is a different way to have the card returned for the selection. I like the way that I taught it, but here's another way to do it. Have a card selected, so they pick a card. Say they pick the 7. Now the other way is to have us do a swing cut. So they pick the 7, you square everything up, and now you do a swing cut. So you're taking in the middle grip, you take your thumb and your second finger, grab the cards from the top, your first finger comes over and cuts the card up. So it's like you're doing a little swing cut. So you take a swing cut, swing it into the hand, so you swing that card packet into the left hand, you leave it sit there and say, put the card back. So it looks like this. You're here, put your card back, they put the card back here, and now you just drop this pack on top. Those are the tips for invisible, reverse, surprise, outdone. I want to thank you very much for watching. I want to give a big thanks to Jim Ryan. And if you have never heard of Jim Ryan, you should, if you get a chance to look up anything that he's done, it's all great, it's all simple, you'll love it all. Jim Ryan, thank you very much. Invisible, reverse, surprise, outdone. See you guys next time.